Sports Shorts Radio. It's the fastest 2 hours on the radio, covering it all from the Fighting Tigers of LSU to the tracks of NASCAR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now, here's Ronnie Rance, Tommy Krysan, and Hunter McCann.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Radio. Ronnie Rance, Hunter McCann, TK over here at a new spot where we have not done our show yet. But we will be here. I can't hear myself in my headsets. If you could help me out a little bit. We will be broadcasting over here monthly. So each and every month, we will be broadcasting over at Bally's Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. And as the crow flies, it is, what do you think, TK? Maybe mile and a half from Pete Goolsbee Field? Maybe a mile?
I'm going to go mile and a half. I'm going to go mile and a half, 2 at the tops.
Yeah, mile and a half at Pete Goolsbee Field, the home of the 2025 Texas Collegiate League champions, who start their season June 2nd, this coming Tuesday, on the road against the Acadiana Cane Cutters over in Lafayette. Play Tuesday, Wednesday against Acadiana, Thursday in Lake Charles against the Gumbo Gators, and then their home opener is this Friday, June 5th. Fireworks presented by Jerry Lane and everything. That'll be this Friday over at Pete Goolsbee Field. Games at 7 o'clock, gates open at 6. Get your tickets at brugru.com. Can't wait for the home opener. It's going to be a great crowd and be a lot of fun. We'll honor the 2025 TCL championship team. But over here at Bally's Casino, where we are, as the crow flies, this used to be a long time ago, used to be the home of the Bell. For years. And they had the boat out on the river, and it was right by the Mississippi River Bridge. And then remember, they had a Sheraton long time ago, like probably before the Hunter was born, in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. They had a Sheraton hotel here, really nice. And then the last 20 years, things happened, and things didn't get so nice. So the casino's gone on the river. Now it's land-based casino. They remodeled the old atrium where we used to do the
Signing day bash.
The signing day bash for LSU. Used to be 1,000 people in here. Ragu would run from the fax machine with the paper, yelling, we got another one, and it would have videos.
What a different
from somebody's
world.
VCR that they would play of the players and all that.
You know what else the Tiger Gridiron Club bash did for you and me and all of our colleagues in the radios? We got to meet a lot of people who were callers to the different
Put
shows.
The faces with the
Some
names.
people called all the shows, and then you could say, they'd be like, hey, I'm Carl the Cat. Well, we didn't know what he looked like until he walked up and saw us at the recruiting bash. That was a major event, and I remember being in this area.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
It looks great now. Bally's has really kicked it up many notches.
I'm telling you right now, you're going to be blown away if you go to the Bally's Casino. We're inside the DraftKings Sportsbook is where we're broadcasting here inside the Bally's Casino, right across the street from the Raising Cane's River Center. So and the hotel's awesome. Stayed here during a Mardi Gras season with the crew of Orion and Ball and everything. Amazing hotel. Ryan Hernandez used to be with LeBears, is over here. Daniel Hutchinson runs the place, who used to be at LeBears. So guys I used to work with over back at LeBears a decade ago are all the boss man running the show over here at Bally's Casino. So we'll be here once a month. This will be a once-a-month spot, and we look forward to being here. And it's great. We'll be housing some of the players. Some of our visiting teams will be staying here that come in to play the Rougarou.
Yeah, thoroughly impressed. It's real nice. It really is.
Good food, too. They got great pizza over there. They have one of those big stone pizza ovens or whatever, wood fire or whatever it is, and it's awesome. Okay, so college baseball regionals are underway.
Feels a little different this year, doesn't it?
It's crickets over at the box. No Tiger talk this week, other than Maverick Rizzi won't be back. That's a big loss for LSU baseball. He's going into portal. This guy's 6'9", throws 95 to 100 miles an hour, just finished his sophomore year. And unfortunately for Maverick Rizzi, I don't think, fellas, he got any better this past year. I think he was the same guy he was a year ago.
He did not, and you want to see that year-to-year improvement. It didn't happen with him. The portal opens Monday, June 1, for everybody. So he announced on social media he was going to do that, and now they're talking about Curiel may or may not come back. It's still an unknown about Milam. I'll tell you right now, to get Curiel and Milam back, that's a good start for constructing next year's
If
roster.
they get Curiel and Milam back, they'll be preseason #1 in the country,
Well, and
Come
or
on.
2 at worst.
and Jay
With that
John.
pitching staff,
I'm
you
talking
gonna
about, first
pitch?
off, all the names that are on that staff, at least half of them are going to be new names. So
That's
we'll
true.
be portal
More than half.
surfing.
We'll wait and see. But Jay Johnson also said this week that he will be returning his entire staff, rolling over into
Coaching
next year's
staff.
coaching staff. Correct. So that's also big news. Except, you didn't get the results you wanted from, but there was a lot of variables this year, and maybe it really wasn't the coaching staff itself, but it was interesting to me that that decision was already made so quickly. But you actually have to have some stability when you're trying to rebuild from the ground up.
Well, and getting back to the regional, Ronnie, the Raging Cajuns had a tough one. They got out to a 1-0 lead. Amadei knocked the run in the first inning. Top of one, they scored one. And then it was pretty much all Cincinnati after that. So Raging Cajuns will have to regroup up in Starkville and work at getting it done. Lamar led A&M 5-0.
Oh, my goodness.
And they got away
Did
and
you
lost
watch that?
7-5.
Did you watch? Where's the stand with the pull-up banner?
Behind you.
Oh, there it is. Goodness, right there. We probably need to move it right here.
If it was a
Well,
snake, it
no,
would have
there's
been.
a few people trying to figure
It's
out
in the
who the heck
camera
we
shot.
are over here. So here's the thing that's crazy. Did y'all see any of the Lamar highlights?
I was
I saw
watching
some
the game.
highlights.
Yeah.
I didn't see the game.
I mean, Will Davis, who kudos to him, now going to be the new head coach of the University of Houston, going to get a raise, going to move up in conference as he's leaving Lamar at the end of the season. He'll go an hour down the road or whatever, so to Houston. So congratulations to him, the former Lehigh Rebel graduate, the former LSU Tiger player and coach. And, of course, his dad, who's no longer with us, would be super proud of him. His dad was a coach at LSU and recruited me, was a part of the staffs at LSU, I think, from like 88 to 90. And then he coached at South Carolina, was the head assistant at South Carolina under Coach Raines over there. And then he went and become the head coach at Louisiana Tech in the mid-90s. And then he got out of coaching at that point, went into financial advising and had a great career. Unfortunately, passed away 3 years ago, maybe something like that. And he would be so happy for his son, Will Davis. And so congrats to Will getting that University of Houston job. That's probably double his pay, something like that, in that ballpark, maybe more. But when it comes to what happened yesterday, Lamar was the 4 seed taking on Texas A&M, the 1 seed. That was a tough game for Texas A&M because, first off, these two teams play every year, right? I mean, these players are from Texas. They know the guys on the A&M team. They play at A&M at least once a year. And so there's not that complete intimidation factor where, us little guys are playing the SEC on their field. It's like, no, we know we can beat them. They have beat them. I want to say they might have beat them. I know they beat Texas or A&M earlier this year. So they're winning that game. Yesterday, Lamar out-hit A&M. They were the better team other than about 3 plays.
Yeah, a pair of homers in the bottom of the 5th put A&M on the board, gave them 3 runs to make it 5-3.
But also one of those runs was a walk
Yep.
right after the homer,
Yep.
first homer, solo homer to start the inning when they were up 5-0. Lamar led 5-0 going into the 5th or 6th or whatever it was.
5th, yeah.
They give up a leadoff solo homer, no worries, walk the next guy, then give up a homer. Now it's 5-3. They scuffle to get out of the inning, don't give up any more runs. But then when they gave up the tie-in runs an inning later and then the go-ahead run, all of those were on walks and hit batters and errors. And it's like, my goodness, man. So as I know that one is absolutely sickening for Lamar to lose that game to Texas A&M. There were tons of surviving advances. Florida to Ryder was tied in the bottom of the 9th. It took a solo walk-off by Florida to win that game. You had that, but you also had tremendous upsets.
You had 4 number 4s beat a 1, which also happened last year. You had 4 number
4
4s.
4s won last year.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they pointed that
That's
out.
4 out of 16, by the way.
Here's one thing. Last year, 7 teams. The squeeze play thing with Chris Burke.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Last year, 7 teams.
It's just hard to do on an iPhone. You got to watch it on a laptop or
I was
or
at home
computer
on
because the squeeze play they'll show 3-4 screens on one, and it's on an iPhone, which I was trying to do. It's really tough.
So last year, 7 teams pitched off in that first game.
17?
Last year, 7.
17 out of the 16.
5 of them lost last year. Okay, it doesn't mean 4-1. This year, the people that pitched off got beat.
Really?
Mhm.
Like all of them.
All
Like
of them.
St. Mary's beat, UCLA pitched
Right.
off. St. Mary's
3-2.
beat them 3-2. You
But
know?
the thing that's shocking about that game, the St. Mary's 3-2, is really it's not the pitch off that did you. It was the fact that they only scored 2
Yeah,
against
they
St.
were
Mary's.
wire to wire number one. First time a number one seed lost to a 4.
How about LSU's opening team, Milwaukee? Came in here opening weekend.
They were up
LSU
10
beat, some,
nothing on Auburn.
10-0. 10-0. They
beat,
came and took it to them.
beat Auburn, blew them out, had like 17 hits or something in that game.
Right.
Talk about the
Liberty beat Boston College.
Little Rock.
Goes into Hattiesburg. A
Second
4.
year in a row,
Chris
Southern
Curry.
Miss loses at home.
Well,
in a
but
regional.
Chris Curry, who got Little Rock to the finals against LSU last year in the regional, they beat Southern Miss in Hattiesburg 7-4. I mean, Georgia Tech smoked somebody. Okay, Alabama rolled. Jacksonville State knocked off Virginia. Jacksonville State scored 15 runs. Virginia shouldn't have pitched off. Arkansas wins. Miami wins late over Troy, one of the 5 Sun Belt teams in the thing. Tarleton State takes down UC Santa Barbara.
Tarleton State plays Texas.
Hal Mummy's alma mater, Tarleton State. Let's see. Everybody else, St. John's took down Florida State
that was
in
another big one.
Tallahassee. Holy smokes.
And then Ole Miss last night survived a thriller through 14 innings.
That
against
bunch of
Arizona
extra inning games. And South Carolina upstate beat Oklahoma State.
Dude. So I want to go back and mention out something. We were talking about that Texas A&M Lamar game. Did you see? We talked about the walks being crucial. Did you see that hit by batter that happened after that first home run in the bottom of the 5th that got the batter to first? There was some controversy.
Wait, say that. Which was it?
Okay, so the homer happens in the bottom
Which
of the 5th inning. Lamar and Texas A&M.
Okay.
That in the bottom of the 5th, they hit a home run. Then we talked about the walk, right? It was a hit by a batter. They put the batter on first. They ended up being a 2-run.
Yep.
So he was hit by pitch. Got in the first, but they reviewed it because they initially the home plate umpire signaled said he was hit. They reviewed it. This ball bounced about 2.5 inches in front of his foot, bounced over his foot.
So didn't hit him, but did they review it or no?
They looked at it and they said that the call stood, but it seemed clear as day to me.
On the replay,
you should go look at it if you haven't. That he did not, and then of course
the very next guy hits a homer.
Hits a 2-run homer, and that kind of gave Texas A&M some life.
But, look, Lamar can't complain about that one because they hurt themselves so badly with the errors and they continue to have some walks and hit bat.
But definitely flip momentum in that game.
Yeah, no, that was a big deal.
Another thing I noticed while watching Squeeze play, and again, if you have that, you need to watch it. Numerous SEC guys. I don't know which one or which team. They had that. They almost like tapped their head, like the ABS, which they had in Hoover.
Right.
Even one of the catchers one time. Then he realized, okay, we don't have that here. But they got that blown into their brains in the 1 week in Hoover.
Right. No,
and look, here's my question, Ron. Do you think we have ABS in the NCAA tournament next year?
I'm going to say no next year, but I think
the following year.
Just because of the logistics of it, it's a big process. It's not something that's transferable real quickly to 16 sites, but I would say it's coming eventually.
And as Paul Gilly told us on the Sports Choice Radio a couple of weeks ago, the MLB is very involved, and I'm sure they're doing some of the cost.
All right, we're over here at Bally's Casino at downtown Baton Rouge as the crow flies from the state capitol about a mile. Pete Goldsby Field, the home of the Texas Collegiate League 2025 champ, Baton Rouge Rougarou, about a mile and a half away. We're in this beautiful sports book, the DraftKings Sportsbook. Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan, myself, Ronnie Rance. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about some college baseball, big stories going on around the world of college baseball and the NCAA regional. It seems like parity, just like in college football, has now trickled over to college baseball. Now that everybody has a little bit of money, some more than others, now players are going to other schools, and the balances of power is shifted from not just 20 to more like 40, 50, 60. And so it's making for better postseasons. Anybody can beat anybody means something even more now than it did before. We'll continue talking about that. Plus, we'll tell you about River of Life Capsules.com when we return. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts will continue right after this on ESPN Radio. Back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at the Bally's Casino inside the DraftKings Sportsbook, downtown Baton Rouge. All new casino that opened up this past fall. The hotel did. The casino's been around a little bit longer, but the hotel just opened up. Gorgeous, all brand new. I mean, look, they remodeled the old atrium downtown and the former Sheraton years and years ago. But when I say they might as well have imploded it and started from the ground up because it looks nothing like it used to.
It looks like they got on River of Life capsules down here.
That's right. That's right.
They're doing better.
By the way, TK telling you about riveroflifecapsules.com. You've heard us talk about it over the years here. And here's what's going on. If you're the guy out there and you got an achy back, you got achy joints, swollen joints, you go into the store and you're buying over-the-counter medications for pain or for swollen anything, get off of that. Go to riveroflifecapsules.com. Give them a call today. It's all natural. It's better for you. And it's made here locally with professionals that have been in the business for years and years and years that have figured out a perfect all-natural formula that doesn't give you negative side effects. It gives you all positive side effects. You can take 1 capsule a day, 2 capsules a day. You take it as needed. You can go to riveroflifecapsules.com, order a bottle today, or if you have questions, call Patrick and the gang at Angiogenesis. It's all online at riveroflifecapsules.com. You can set up a consultation, talk over the phone. But, Hunter, it's going to help you for sure.
It absolutely will. I mean, it has been a game changer for all of us sitting in here at this table, for family and friends. It's not something you have to take every single day. TK takes it pretty often, almost every single day. I take it as needed. If I wake up, my back, my knee, and anything else is hurting me, pop that, gives me that clarity and that relief in my back and my knees, and just makes me feel 1,000 times better. River of Life capsules. You can go to riveroflifecapsules.com.
And it has turmeric in it. Is one of the ingredients that it has, which helps you with your liver, improves circulation, high antioxidant power, lowers blood sugar, enhances brain function. So many great side effects with turmeric, which is one of the many natural ingredients that are in riveroflifecapsules.com. All right, back here over at Bally's Casino talking college baseball. Such a different world. We touched on LSU baseball for a second last segment. It's going to be very interesting because with LSU baseball, you learn things in drips and drabs, right? Like Jay Johnson's not going to have a press conference and just vomit information. It's going to come out a little here, a little there. Very rarely does he tell you something before you find out some otherwhere else, right? It usually kind of leaks, and then maybe he confirms it. One of the things we found out last week is that Derek Curiel had a broken ankle this past, November, December, whatever it was.
Yep.
I don't think that had any impact on him. Played well, had a really good year. Sure, did it have an impact? If it did, you couldn't tell, so I would say it didn't.
Well, anybody thinks it had an impact is figuring that out now. If somebody would have said in February or March, something ain't right with Curiel, but nobody ever said that, so I don't think it had much of an impact. And we don't know the extent. It could have been you got a lot of bones in your foot. It could have been one of the bones that doesn't take your weight.
Well, he also did it at the right time, right? If you're going to break something, do it in November.
Right. Yeah.
You got plenty of time for
it
it
to
to
play
heal.
till mid-February when Milwaukee came to town, right?
Exactly.
And, of course, Milwaukee clocked off yesterday.
Punch him in the mouth, man. That's what you got to do when you go into somebody else's backyard in a regional. You just come out and punch somebody in the mouth, and Milwaukee showed everybody they were capable of doing that.
If Curiel had a broke ankle, what's he going to look like if he didn't have a broke ankle? Because he hit 353 last year with 58. This past year with 58 starts, he had 232 at bats, which led the team. Milam had 223 at bats. Curiel, again, 353 average, started every game that they played.
Was defensively solid.
Had 18 doubles, which led the team. Had 2 triples, which led the team. Had 6 homers, 46 RBIs, which was third most on the squad. And he had 34 walks, 43 strikeouts. A lot more strikeouts than I thought he would have.
Well, that's because of the ankle.
But 34 walks, had a 431 on-base percentage, which was second best on the squad. And he was 13 out of 15 in stolen bases. So maybe he steals 20 if he didn't have an ankle, right? So he had a fantastic year. So other than the fact that was impressive that the story got hidden and that no one found out that he had a broken ankle or reported on social media, it had no effect. As far as Maverick Rizzi goes, this is not a guy you wanted to lose, I can assure you, regardless of how frustrating his season was for him personally and the fact that he didn't dominate to the level you thought Maverick Rizzi would dominate. Maverick Rizzi, on a team that had a 5.72 earned run average for the team for the year, Maverick Rizzi had the third lowest ERA. He had a 4.22 earned run average. He appeared in 20 games, which was third most on the team. In those 20 games, he pitched a total of 21 and a third innings. He gave up only 18 hits, which is outstanding. He struck out 28 and 21 and a third, which is outstanding. Here's the trouble spot. He walked 19 and he hit 7. So he had 25 free bases he allowed in only 21 and a third innings. That's definitely something that he's going to work on regardless of wherever he plays at, whether it comes back to LSU or whether he actually goes in the portal and transfers. That's something he's going to have to work on. And he also had 8 wild pitches and 21 and a third innings. That is a season's worth.
And I think you hit the nail on the head in the fact that this is not a guy you want to lose because he has the stuff. He has the potential to do major league stuff here in college, but the control has just been such an issue for him. And it was an issue for him last year, and it felt like even more so of an eyesore this year. Maybe that's because the rest of the team was kind of dysfunctional as well, that every single error by every single player just felt like the end of the world. But it's just like you mentioned last segment, Ronnie, it felt like he didn't take that jump to the next year. He just kind of stayed on the plateau.
Well, we all thought he was going to become Chase Shores.
Yeah.
You remember how Chase Shores turned it on last year in the 25 national championship season? The last month and a half, Chase Shores figured it out. And then he ended up being drafted, sandwich pick, second round, something like that.
Great game in Omaha.
And I thought, and I'm sure Jay Johnson thought, that Maverick Rizzi was going to be the next Chase Shores. And even though Chase Shores was a little up, a little down, try to make him a starter. Now put him in the pen. Okay, that's more like it. Still some bobbles, and then bam, it all clicked. And then Chase Shores, as soon as he figured out how to throw strikes on a consistent basis and get his release point there, that was it. Lights out. Nobody's touching Chase Shores with that 98 to 100 mile an hour fastball.
So Gage Jump got called up to the big.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, and
Former UCLA Bruin, who then played at LSU.
And Tommy White is tearing it up in AAA.
300. Yeah.
Look for him to be in the big
next couple weeks,
maybe. The A's,
AA.
Sacramento A's, whatever they are this year. They just call them the A's, the Athletics. They don't want to say much.
It's the right organization for Tommy White to be in, right?
He can go Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, just because they're not going to buy free agents.
Correct.
They're going to want homegrown talent that they can pay cheap and control for a while.
2 years before they get to Vegas.
By the way, the Vegas stadium where the A's are going to play, I saw some videos and pictures from this past week. They are on time and actually on budget, which is something that stadiums don't normally do. But it looks like you already see the structure of the lower bowl and everything. Like it's going to be amazing. It's right there across the street, right at the corner of across from the MGM and Mandalay Bay, next to where the airport, where I think it was the Flamingo maybe was there. I don't
remember. That's the one they knocked down to put there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the hotel that was there. But anyway, it was a hotel that had been there for a long time. And it's right there in the corner across from MGM, across from New York, across from where they had the Jester thing, Knights. The
Excalibur.
Yeah, Excalibur restaurant kind of deal is right there.
We need to move a Rougarou series to Vegas once they open that stadium.
LSU is playing in Vegas next year.
But not in that.
They're going there the first week of March. They're not going to be obviously in the new stadium, but they have a AAA ballpark there in Vegas. The Bombers, the 51 B-51s or whatever. And so it's going to be pretty incredible.
So speaking of the MLB, Tommy, we also this week had a proposal from the owners about a salary floor and a salary cap, something that a lot of people have talked about in the last few years that the MLB needed because they've never really had anything like that, and especially a cap, because you see these teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees of the world that are spending millions on millions more than other teams and obviously giving the competitive advantage, and every other major sport isn't like that. Well, right now this proposal would not only add a cap, add a floor, so teams would be required to spend at least $171 million on a roster, and at a cap, $245 million a year.
And it was like there's like 8 teams over the cap and like 12 teams under
Correct.
the minimum. But here's the thing: that was the first piece of the negotiation. Okay, so they're gonna
this will be
the
reworded.
owners are gonna ask for the perfect thing, knowing it ain't gonna be accepted. Here's the thing, though: if you're an MLB fan, what's today? May the 30th. As of today, there's a strong chance there's a lockout on December 1st. when this current collective bargaining agreement expires. Strong chance as of today. Obviously, a lot of ground to cover between now and then, but we'll see.
Yeah, this is something that I think that will have to, and they won't be in this exact form, like you said, but it's something that's going to have to be instated before that deadline or around that deadline, or you're not going to see baseball next year because there are so
What's
many.
the date again? The deadline date?
The end of the year.
The end of the
December 1.
December
December 1.
December 1 is the date.
Expires
Yes.
at midnight, December 1.
Okay,
Yes.
so
As
December
of
1.
today, yeah.
All right, so December 1 is the deadline.
So there
Yes.
could be a lockout on December 1.
By the way, I before Hunter was born, I was scabbed.
Yeah,
I,
he crossed the line, huh?
The strike in 1995. So in 94, they cut off the season at the end of August or beginning of September, I think it was. End of August, they stopped the season, and they didn't have a World Series. They never resumed. That was the end of 94. So no World Series champion in 94. Albert Bell was on pace to be the MVP that year and all that. 95, they were prepared to play the season using replacement players. And we did a 6 weeks training camp, the whole nine. We're 24 hours away from opening day, and all of a sudden a court order injunction came in because the MLB Players Association filed an injunction. The courts ruled that it was illegal for them to use replacement players and go against the union, and so therefore the strike was over. Had to use players, and they reached a settlement. And then they started the season like 3 weeks later. The season was started late that year. But I'll tell you a couple stories from the strike when we return. We're over here at Bally's Casino inside the DraftKings Sportsbook, downtown Baton Rouge, our new home. Once a month, we'll be over here at Bally's Casino. It's as the crow flies, about a mile from the state capitol, right next to the Raising Cane's River Center at the base of the Mississippi River Bridge. Amazing what they have done here as far as remodeling the hotel, just you can't even recognize anything that was here before. It's all state of the art, all brand new games and table games and slots.
And this is a nice sports book, man.
We're in the DraftKings Sportsbooks, giant screens, and the food's really good too. They got some restaurant outlets here. Great pizza. That's what I recommend you get, the pizza. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue on with Sports Talk Radio live from Bally's Casino.
Davis next.
Joel Davis, JD. He was in Europe for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that a little bit. I got a question about when he was over in Europe. We'll talk to JD. Oh, did he tell y'all last week?
Yeah, a little bit.
Saturday was on the
No,
on the boat with them when he was on a cruise with
Oh,
them.
yes, he did. He told us
Jeff
that.
Saturday, the former coach of the Colts,
Or I saw it
former
on Facebook.
center
Yeah.
for Peyton Manning. Joel stalked him on a cruise ship in Europe. I want to get the story on that one. We'll be back with more sports shorts, and we'll talk some at that segment or after that segment. We'll get into the strike of 1995. Got a couple good stories for you. We'll be back with more sports shorts. Don't go anywhere.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Excuse me. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Krysan live at the Bally's Casino inside the DraftKings Sportsbook in downtown Baton Rouge, 24/7, 365. Bally's Casino. Amazing, amazing location. Come check it out. We're on ESPN radio, of course, in Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. And over in Lake Charles, opening night for the Gumbo Gators will be this Tuesday, June 2nd. Free ticket night, thanks to Mosquito Authority over there. They're the sponsor. Everyone gets in absolutely free thanks to Mosquito Authority on opening night this Tuesday, coming 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. The gates open over at the Joe Miller Ballpark, the home of the McNeese State Cowboys. And going to be a big crowd taking on the Abilene Flying Bison, new team in the TCL. They left from another league, came over, excited to play them.
Yeah, I got the website addresses up on the screen for brrugaroo.com, gumbogators.com, and texascollegiateleague.com, where you can buy a package to watch the stream of all the games. But, Ronnie, people need to get their tickets, get their merchandise, great-looking merchandise. I was at a meeting last night involving the Rougarou team over at Slits and Giggles in Baton Rouge. It was great to see. Got some big guys, Ronnie. They get off the bus. They got some big, almost look football team like. Some of these guys were really big. Some of the guys I knew from the defending championship team last year in the Texas Collegiate League. So it was Rougarou fever, turning it up a notch last night. Coach Forbes was there, Casey was there, Camille, other interns. Tim Beatty and his wife Tracy were there. He's an assistant coach. Mike Spears, I met the new pitching coach last night. So it was Rougarou in the air last night.
100%. Excited about the start of both of those two teams, and the dream scenario, guys, as they play each other. There's 8 teams in the TCL, and there's no divisions. You play all the teams, and then the top 2 teams at the end of the first half, for the end of June, after the first 24 games, those top 2 teams in the league make the playoffs. And then you have a second half, and then whoever the top 2 teams are in the second half, they make the playoffs. And then you have, so 4 of the 8 teams make the playoffs. If any of the top 2 teams in the second half are a part of the top 2 teams in the first half, then you just go down to the next team that has the best overall record for the season. And so you got a 50% chance of making the playoffs. And as an owner of 2 of the 8 teams, I've got a 25% chance of winning the championship.
There you go.
But that said, the dream scenario would be the Rougarou playing the Gumbo Gators in the finals, and it ending in a tie after 16 innings due to lightning. Therefore, I don't have to buy championship rings for either team. That would be the dream scenario.
You got to buy them for both.
No. You don't do that. That's the dream
And
scenario.
by the way, I will be in Lake Charles Tuesday night for the Gumbo Gator opener.
Yeah, that's right.
I will be there for that.
If the Gumbo Gators and the Rougarou play each other in a championship game, we're going to have to get Ronnie one of those.
Ronnie won't. He's going to need like more than riveroflifecapsules.com.
Well, he's going to
Listen, I know where the breaker box is at both stadiums. So if the power goes out after the 5th inning, when it's an official game, the 9th, we want to sell a few more concessions. About the 9th inning, when the power goes out, that's it. It's not an official. It's a tie. As soon as it's tied past the 5th, power goes.
I want to
out.
get him one of those split jerseys.
He's got that already.
You already got one of those with
I
half.
actually don't have a hat.
Got a
half
split
Rougarou
shirt with the 2 logos.
I do have that.
You got to give
But-
him the split jersey. Half Rougarou, half Gumbo
Hey,
Gators. Give him to wear to a championship game.
People need to go online on TexasCollegiateLeague.com, subscribe to the season pass, because all the home team's required to stream the games. That's a league rule. And myself, and then we got 3 different play-by-play guys: Jeff Palermo, Garrett Wolbert, Patrick Wright, 3 true pros that I enjoy working with. And then I'll be up there for all the games, doing the scorekeeping and keeping the press box rolling. Because Ronnie's going to be in Lake Charles a lot.
He's going to be busy in the next 2 months. And I just got a question for somebody. They want to know, all right, guys, when y'all going to stop talking, and where's Joel Davis? We'll have Joel Davis in about another half hour.
11 o'clock. So we reached out to Joel. He said, hey, guys, please call me back at 11. I'm in the middle of something. I'm at a football game. That's all he said.
That's it.
So he's
Who's
got
playing football
He's
is the
got
question.
grandkids, so he could be maybe at a 7-on-7 football game, or he works for Red Zone Fundraising. He could be maybe dealing with a client that has 7-on-7. I don't know. We'll talk to him at 11. In the meantime, I'm gonna we were kind of chatting before we went to the break about the impending strike or lockout or whatever we're expecting, and I can tell you that Major League Baseball is expecting a lockout, a strike, whatever the term is we want, a boycott, whatever. because, and I know this for a fact, behind the scenes, I've had conversations with our league, the Texas Collegiate League, and some Major League Baseball officials for the last few months about some technology and stuff that we're potentially would be using as in the league that other summer college baseball leagues use that are tied in with some stuff that a database that Major League Baseball is involved in. And basically Major League Baseball has kind of frozen spending between now and the resolution of this new deal because they're anticipating maybe having to cut some bid jobs or furlough some people or whatever when this strike inevitably or whatever comes December 1st. And so they're anticipating that by saying basically we're not spending any money that unless we just have to right now because we know that where we're headed.
Well, and all the pundits that cover the MLB far more than we do, they cover 24 hours a day. Again, on May 30th, the feeling is there will be a lockout.
And so obviously, like we mentioned last segment, the proposed floor and cap will be restructured, but it seems like that's the idea that most of the owners and the general public believe is going to be the solution that brings baseball back together. It'll probably have to be something, though, that they say it's going to be instated 5 years down the road or something like that, because there are some of these teams that are well north above the cap, the Dodgers and Yankees, that are not going to be able to get back under the cap because of the money they've kicked down the road to certain players, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. The money that's been kicked down the road so far is going to take up like half of that salary per year.
I think they're going to put in a minimum, and then there'll be a luxury tax similar to what they have now. Here's the big question. If we have a lockout, does Ronnie Rance play for the Milwaukee Brewers again like he did in the previous lockout?
So, here's interesting how it all went down. In 1995, they brought in – so normally the way spring training works is if you're a minor league player, you go for about 3 weeks. So traditionally, for many, many years, decades, if you were a minor league baseball player, you showed up at training camp, first week of April or something, first week of March, and you did about a 3-week training camp, and then you start your season around April 1st, right? Go to whatever town if you make the team. They bring in the position players usually around the second week of February for the big league. So they usually have about big league camp is a month and a half or so. Minor league camp's about 3 weeks. A big difference, right? So in 1995, because they didn't know if they were going to use strike players or not, they knew that there was a strike going on. They knew that a lockout going on. They knew that there was legal involved. They brought everybody into camp. And we did like a 6-week camp. So instead of bringing in minor leaguers at 3 weeks, they brought you in at 6 weeks because they said, you know what, we're going to throw all these people against the wall, see what sticks, because we just don't know what's going to transpire in the next month and a half. So you had all these guys at camp. Now, who was in camp? Those were all the people that inevitably weren't on the 40-man roster. So if you were on the 40-man roster, you were a part of the union and you were striking, right? Well, like it or not, that's what the union was doing. Now, if you were on the 40-man roster and you decided you wanted to cross the picket line and you wanted to play, you didn't support the strike and you wanted to get back, you could. And a few guys did. But not many, but a few. Well, we're in camp, a bunch of minor leaguers, just happy to be there. But here's the problem, Hunter. For me personally, I had a job delivering pizzas. I had a pizza delivery job in Phoenix, Arizona in the off season.
Delivering a pizza to Phil Mickelson.
Delivering pizzas, right? Right.
Didn't know that. Never heard that story.
A delivery man. And I drove my little Ford Explorer. I put on my pizza man shirt, delivered pizzas in Scottsdale. So I made, whatever I made, X amount of dollars. I was making $15 an hour at least, maybe $20 an hour, somewhere up in that range. And I would deliver pies. Well, when I went to training camp, because I had my own apartment in Phoenix, I was getting $25 a day meal money, or 30 maybe, $25 or $30 a day. Let's call it 30, I think. It's $30 a day meal money. That's it. Well, it cost me between the apartment and my truck and insurance and gas like $60 a day to live or whatever, right? So I was losing money by going to camp. So I kept my pizza job. And I would deliver pizzas at night a few days a week while I was in training camp during the day.
Got to do what you got to do.
So I would, practice, get to the stadium 7 a.m., do the practices in the morning, lunch. We would play like games in the afternoon, inter squads or other teams. And then I'd get off and then I'd go to work a shift, right? Not every day, but a lot of times. Well, I never told anyone at pizza place that I played minor league baseball. Never told anyone at the minor league place that I worked pizza. So this is going on for like a couple of weeks. Well, all of a sudden, the Arizona Republic, the newspaper, comes out to just take some random photos of spring training, and then they have like a big headline on the newspaper that says training camp open, and it just shows pictures of guys playing and, put training camp, and they randomly show a picture of me and this other guy playing catch for the Milwaukee Brewers organization. They didn't know Ronnie Rance from Adam. They just, boom, snapped the picture, identified us, and put it on the cover. I show up to go work the pizza, and one of the guys is like, "Hey, man, is this you?" And shows me. I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you doing working here?" I'm like, "I'm in the minor leagues, man. They don't pay anything. I got to work here."
I have a question for you I don't know the answer to. Did you have an agent back then?
I did. Yeah. I mean, like whatever that was worth, but I did.
But I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
You and I have never had that conversation.
I technically did. So he would get me like a pair of shoes and maybe a glove or something every
pack
year.
of bubble gum.
Yeah, whatever. It was like, let me know if you make the big leagues.
2 packs of bubble gum.
I mean, so anyway, he actually helped me get an off-season job one year. He helped me get a job at UPS. I was driving.
He had a lot of driving jobs.
Yeah. I mean,
he was Uber before Uber.
Trust me, I've seen him drive.
I was Uber and
crazy.
Eats before Uber Eats. So look, I'm in training camp, and so they sit us down, all 150 players or something like that. They sit us down, guys from all over the world, and Sal Bando was the GM of the Brewers back then. Sal Bando had been a great big leaguer. He's the GM of the Brewers, and this is when Bud Selig owned the team. It was before he was the full-time commissioner. And so we were a cheap organization, and Sal Bando was a big Christian guy, a lot of Bible studies, and very, he didn't like any, cussing and things like that. So it was a kind of a different run organization. And so Sal would kind of preach to you a little bit, right? And so we're all sitting there at training camp one day, like on the ground, Indian style, having this conversation. And there's Sal Bando, there's Phil Garner, the big league manager, and all kind of other coaches. And they're kind of telling us what's going on with the strike and the whole 9 yards, giving us the lay of the land. And they said, okay, look, we're going to pass around these index cards with a pen. I want all of you to fill it out and basically check the box on whether or not you would be willing to cross the picket line if we choose to select you to play on our, 40-man roster or not. And here's the difference. If you, in training camp 1995, I was getting $30 a day because I was staying off the property. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to stay at a hotel, they would feed you 3 meals a day, but you get no money. So they said, look, if we choose to select you to make the 40-man roster, you'll get $120 a day meal money. If you make the 40-man, we're going to give you a $5,000 signing bonus. If you play opening day, if you make the opening day roster and you play on that opening day, if you're on the team opening day, you get a $30,000 opening day bonus, and you get $850 a day pay per game. I'm like, sign me up, right? Yeah. So naturally, most of the 150 guys checked that box. Yes, there were some guys who didn't. Those were the guys that were the bonus babies that were in the minor leagues, that were first, second round draft pick. They knew they were probably going to be in the big leagues, and they didn't want to, piss off the union, piss off their teammates. Because if you cross the line and they pick you to play as a replacement player, you're out of the union forever, never in the union. So I'm like, yeah, I'd already had 2 surgeries by that point. You know what? I knew my chances of making the big leagues were slim and none. So I end up, they tried out everybody who said yes. They tried you out for a few weeks. And then finally they picked the 40-man roster, and I made the 40-man roster. So I got the $5,000 signing bonus. I got $120 a day meal money for like 3 weeks. I went and bought a pair of like snakeskin boots in Scottsdale, because that's what you do, with your $120 a day meal money. And I thought we had a spread in the locker room after every game. That was unbelievable.
I thought I died pizza where you used to work, or what?
I was LSU baseball before 2026, because that's how those guys live now. But anyway, I'll tell you the second parts of that story. We're over here at Bally's Casino, inside Bally's Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. He's Hunter McCann. I got Tommy Chrysan with me, rocking the Rougarou Polo. I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll be back with more sports shorts. Don't go anywhere. Storytelling time will continue. Oh, by the way, Joel Davis will join us at 11. At 11, Joel Davis will join us. Don't go anywhere.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
And welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance, Tommy Krysan, Hunter McCann. We are broadcasting today till noon live at the inside the DraftKings Sportsbook, inside the new Bally's Casino, that the all-new Bally's Casino that just opened in the last year, downtown Baton Rouge, right across from the Raising Cane's River Center. Awesome casino. I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away when you pop down here to see it. If you happen to be downtown for any reason, base of the Mississippi River Bridge, this is where you want to wait out traffic. Come in here, have a drink, get some food, play a little bit over at the Bally's Casino, and wait out the traffic whenever that bridge is just backed up. TK, kind of finishing up on the little story that we were talking about before the break about the strike in 1995, and we're bringing it up because we're expecting the 2027 season might have some issues for Major League Baseball. And so once I got selected to the Milwaukee Brewers as a scab, and listen, when I drove into camp each day, there were picketers. There were players with signs that you had to walk by that were giving you a surly look. Some of them might yell something at you going to practice. They would come to the hotel. We had a meeting with our minor leaguers and a forum of maybe 10 guys at a table. They were trying to pitch the players not to cross the picket line, and here's why, and everything like that. And that didn't go too well. There was a lot of yelling and screaming in that meeting. But it was an amazing experience. Bob Uecker, I saw him every day. He did all of our games. But here's the funniest story of the whole deal. We are playing against the Scottsdale. We're playing in Scottsdale Stadium against the San Francisco Giants. Dusty Baker is the manager. Phil Garner is my manager. And it's a beautiful day, sold-out ballpark. We're playing on, cable, the games on TV. I don't know if it's across the country or regional networks, whatever, games on television. I got friends there. My family's there. My girlfriend's there. It's dream day, right? I'm feeling good. My arm's not hurting that day. And I'm down in the bullpen, and all of a sudden they call down, get Rance hot, and I'm throwing, and it's like the 8th or something. And I'm throwing the balls coming out good. I'm feeling good. So they put me in the game and start the inning. First guy makes some good pitches too. Throw him a slider away. It's a lefty. Rolls over on a slider away. Hits like a Bill Buckner 18 hopper to first base. And my guy pulls a Bill Buckner and boots it. I cover, flip it, safe. So they get a runner on an error. No, he was safe. So runner at first on an E3. Next two guys, I get them out. Strikeout, pop up something. Third guy comes up. Now, it's replacement, Scabs. This guy had been playing in Japan. It was a big, strong, left-handed hitter. Been playing in Japan. They called him King Kong over there or whatever. He's now going to come back to the United States, and so he's batting. I start him off. I get him 0-2. Fastball away, strike one. Fastball away, fouls it off. I'm 0-2 on this guy, and I've got Crash Davis catching. I got like a 35-year-old catcher from Bull Durham who's been in the big league, minor leagues for 15 years. So he calls another fastball away, and I'm not thinking. I'm just going to call whatever Crash Davis tells me to call. I throw another one, and the guy hits it off the end of the bat, kind of a soft liner over the third baseman's head, but it jumps up, just misses it. It rolls down the corner. We get the ball. We relay. We got to play at the plate because, remember, guy on first with 2 outs. He's on his horse. We got him dead to rights at home plate. We tag him. Catcher drops the ball. Next guy get out. So I give up an unearned run, but I threw the ball well. I go back to the dugout. I'm sitting there. I take my hat off and glove. I put it on the bench, and I'm like, okay, that went well. Well, we get 3 outs real quick. No one taps me on my shoulder and says I'm out of the game. So I'm thinking, okay, I guess I must be back in. Put my hat on, start jogging out the dugout, and realize, oh, crap, the game's over. So I try to play it off like I didn't just come running out of the dugout. So I'm hoping no one sees me. And we get on the bus. I'm the last guy on the bus after visiting with family. And Phil Garner, as I walk past him in the front row, goes, hey, LSU, because he used to call me LSU.
He went to Tennessee.
He goes, hey, LSU. We play 9 innings in the big leagues, right? And the whole bus starts laughing.
Oh,
right?
no.
Everyone saw. No one said anything. I got completely embarrassed. That was my moment where I was like, oh, man. That was I was so out of it mentally that I didn't even pay attention to the innings. I didn't even know the scenario. That was so embarrassing. He's Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan. I'm Ronnie Rance. Hour number 1 is in the books. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Joel Davis will join us at 11 o'clock next. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts will continue from Bally's Casino right after this.
HD2, Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here as we begin hour number 2 live from Bally's Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. Hunter McCann, Tommy Chrysan, and we're chasing down Joel. Unbelievable, this guy.
Football game. Must win
Football, man.
overtime.
Yeah.
Before we get to him, let's do this Gage report. This segment presented by Gage. We got NHL hockey coming to an end. When's where are we at with Stanley Cup stuff?
We just have the final set. It's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights against the Carolina Hurricane.
How about the Vegas Golden Knights, by the way? They won the NHL Stanley Cup their very first year of existence. I mean, you talk about just go downhill from there. This is what, probably year 10 maybe of Vegas?
Not even that.
Like
This is 6.
Oh,
yeah.
year 6.
And this is
And
their
their third trip to
third
the finals.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So they got a chance to win it again. They're taking on the Carolina Hurricanes.
They start Tuesday. They'll start Tuesday.
So you got like maybe as many as 7 more games
at
left
the
to bet
maximum.
on. And where are you at right now,
We're at
percentage betting wise?
58.5% in the NHL gambling wise. So I'll have some picks on that throughout the week. And into next weekend, we'll see how the Stanley Cup Finals go. But we also have the NBA Finals. We'll have those set after tonight. We get a Game 7 tonight in the Western Conference Finals. between the Thunder and the Spurs.
Okay.
And, of course, the Thunder, the defending champions. And, it's been about 5 years or so, TK, I would say, since a good Game 7. Every time we get to Game 7, it's been a blowout the last 5 years.
Game 6 was a blowout.
Game 6 was a blowout. Of course, there's been some great games in this series so far between these two teams. Of course, Game 1, where the Spurs pulled ahead, the Thunder came back at the end. Wemby, of course, hit a 3 with 30 seconds left in the first overtime, sent it the second, blah, 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 and the Spurs took Game 1. But now it comes down to a do-or-die game tonight. The Thunder, a 3.5-point favorites. Not going to have Jalen Williams. They haven't had him. Well, they didn't have him game 2, 3, 4, or 5. He only played 10 minutes of game 6, and he will not be dressing out for game 7 for the Thunder. So they will be without a key part of their offense, of course. But the history will tell you that the Thunder are going to win this game, and the reason I say that is because in the last 2 years in the postseason, they're 10-0 coming off a loss. You don't beat the Thunder back-to-back, but I wouldn't be lying to you if I didn't think that if any team that could do it, it would be the San Antonio Spurs, because this team is young and usually this is where experience shows in a Game 7 like this. But this team has not gone away. San Antonio, as young as they are, look like a veteran presence. I just hope for a competitive, close Game 7. I'm going to have my best bets posted over at WBRZ.com in just a little bit, but you already know that if you go right now, you will see that pick for tonight. I am taking the Spurs plus 3.5. I think it's going to be a close game because we haven't seen in this series back-to-back blowouts. I just don't see the Thunder being able to flip the script completely and blow out San Antonio. They may win this game, but I think it'll be a one-possession ball game. So taking San Antonio tonight plus 3.5 points. And I don't have a lock yet on this Stanley Cup Finals, but like I said, I'll have that over on my social media and WBRZ's best bets sometime this week. Get you a pick in for the series and who's going to be hoisting up the trophy by the end of the weekend.
Gage.
Yes, of course. And this segment is brought to you by Gage because we are just weeks away from hurricane season. You need to make sure that you have your home and business protected with a Cummins standby generator from Gage. Gage has been in business since 1980. You can trust them. They're the #1 Cummins dealer in the Gulf South. So you want to make sure that you get yourself a Cummins standby generator. You can contact Gage at 225-753-4243, or you can visit them online at gage.cloud.
How about the story this week about gambling in sports that has shocked a lot of people, but this isn't going to be shocking.
No.
And I think it's going to be, we're going to hear stories like this every year from multiple spots because of betting, and there's a million apps, and it's so easily, and just about every state allows it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Used to be gambling was something that you met a bookie behind a pizza place with an envelope, and you made sure no one was following you, and you paid them off, kind of thing, or he paid you, which usually you paid him off. Now it's all light of day, right? Offshore accounts, apps, everything's electronic. Rarely do you even meet your bookie in person, or you doing it through some sort of casino or whatever. We're here at the DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings, one of the biggest companies in the world. But this story is incredible.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's been almost 2 months in the making, a month and a half now in the making, about Brendan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback that at one point was going to
LSU.
Yeah, it was between LSU and Texas Tech. He chooses Texas Tech, and then shortly after, they get into spring training and everything. There's a story that comes out that he had been gambling in the last 3 years or so, underage gambling, first of all, but gambling not just on random sports, but college football, and not just college football, but the team he was playing for at the time, the Indiana Hoosiers, who, of course, he was a freshman that year, wasn't actually playing in any of those games that he bet on. He was just sitting the bench, but he's a part of those teams. He's, of course, seeing, there's a lot of insider trading concerns and blah, blah, blah. But either way, it's against the NCAA to gamble, period, as a collegiate player, let alone gamble on your own team. So he got sent to a rehab facility. He just got out of the rehab facility a couple weeks ago, where he was diagnosed with a gambling and anxiety disorder. And now the NCAA has basically said he's barred from playing this season, but now he's going to try to sue and get an injunction to still play for Texas Tech this year. And the NCAA said this morning, they kind of reasoning their point, they would be the first major American sports league that would be forced to have an athlete who bet on their own games compete within their organization if the injunction allowed Brendan Sorsby to come back and be the quarterback for Texas Tech this year. And it's just been such a crazy story because, TK, in no way, shape, or form do I think that if you bet on your own team, if you bet in general in college football, like Kayshon Boutte did, where he was betting on player props, stuff like that. Had they figured that out while he was with LSU, he also would have gotten the death penalty. He would have been barred. He would not have been able to play for the Tigers anymore, let alone college football in general. I think that's the way it should go. It should not be a precedent that's set that you basically can do whatever you want because afterwards we can just sue the NCAA and get you to play no matter what.
It's going to be interesting to see what does unfold with all this. And there's a lot of people watching, a lot of people paying attention to this. And in the whole sports world, the NCAA, all the professional sports, they have embraced the whole gambling thing. Okay, and they get millions and millions of dollars in sponsorship monies, marketing and advertising monies, pumping into all of these leagues and into college sports. And I mean, hey, we're sitting here in the DraftKings Sportsbook at Bally's Baton Rouge, and we're 2 miles from the LSU campus and their athletic facilities. So it shouldn't surprise anybody that this is happening. It's happening a whole lot more than we know. It's just like there's like thousands of people going the speed limit today on I-10 over the speed limit, but only 1 or 2 or 3 are going to get a ticket.
Exactly. Sorsby's not the first player ever. We're not, we're not dumb enough to think that this has never happened before, but it's so mainstream now with gambling apps on your phone and being able to, like you said, walk across the street or walk here into the DraftKings Sportsbook and be able to place a bet so easily. It's so easily accessible to everybody now that athletes have that temptation more so than they ever have before. So the NCAA, said he's more than welcome to go play in a different league and a different organization, but he should not be playing in the NCAA where he was betting on our games and betting for the teams that he was playing for.
So what happens to the $5 million Texas Tech is giving him to play quarterback?
Well,
if he doesn't play quarterback, I guess he doesn't get the money.
It depends on what the contract was
exactly
written, right? I would I would think this wasn't a surprise to people, right? I would think that they knew about this.
I think they knew he was betting until he came out and said, I bet on my team to help me stay engaged with the game.
That's what he said about whenever he was sitting on the bench in 2022 at Indiana. And, of course,
he
was losing a lot of bets, too, because that Indiana team in 2022 was not very good.
It wasn't your 2025 Indiana.
It would definitely not. And so that's what it made him feel more alive and connected with his teammates because he wasn't out on the field playing with them or contributing, that it felt like he had some skin in the game to be able to bet on his team. That was the argument that he made. And
his agent and his representatives are trying to say he has a disease, right? They checked him into rehab. He's doing, I think, a 35-day rehab.
It's already over, yeah.
It's already over. Did a 35-day rehab. They're trying to say that it's the same as this, that, and the other. But here's the thing.
They said that basically the mental disorder should not be used against him because it's a disorder.
Right, but what's the same thing as being an alcoholic or a drug addict? It's all the same thing, right?
It is.
Yeah, I'm addicted to porn. I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to gambling. So you get a pass? Just because you admit you're addicted and you get some help, it doesn't mean there's not consequences for your actions. It's the same as saying, well, that guy killed everybody, but he had mental illness. Still doesn't mean he didn't get
a free
consequences.
Pass. Yeah.
It's just, okay, maybe we understand this was something that led to that, and he was more likely to go crazy than if he didn't have the mental illness. But it doesn't mean like, oh, okay, then no problem. You have mental illness. And that's kind of what it sounds like his people are trying to do.
Well,
they're trying to say, oh, well, he's got a diagnosed issue. He's addicted to gambling. Well, you know what? He ain't the first athlete that's been addicted to gambling. There's been tons of people that have been addicted to gambling. You get caught, there's consequences. Your eligibility is gone, my friend.
Well, you see, the NCAA's track record in court is not real good.
That's the tough part.
Chambliss, the quarterback at Ole Miss, they gave him, he was said couldn't play, then some judge ruled he could, and the NCAA can't do anything about it. And he's the high odds-on favorite for the Heisman now.
Right.
Of course, he's at Ole Miss. LSU goes there September 19. That'll be a whole nother story. But people shouldn't be surprised that this is happening. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
And one more, it wasn't a one-off thing. It wasn't like they figured out that on week 3 of 2022 he bet on Indiana. Blah blah. This dude placed thousands of bets over the course of the last 4 years.
$90,000 worth of bets.
I think $90,000 worth of bet, and north of, I think it was like 3,000 to 5,000 or 8,000, something like that. bets. Either way, it was a huge collective bets on a multitude of things: college football, baseball. He was betting overseas on some basketball games and so on and so forth. He has an issue, and he just turned 22 back in January. So he was 19 years old, 18 years old, placing those underage bets. That's a lot. That's a lot for a young kid to not understand what he's doing. But once again, you don't get a free pass. You don't get to say, "I'm sorry, I was young. It was a long time ago."
Ignorance of the law is no defense.
Well, and Texas Tech also in the news this week with Texas over. So
that's a whole other
it's
story.
a whole other thing. But to reset the stage for you, earlier this week, Steve Sarkisian and Texas had a press conference. I talked about strength of schedule, and Sarkisian made a comment about, he didn't say Texas Tech, but he said there's another team in our state playing a different conference, but their strength of schedule is so easy and they still get into the playoffs. Like our 2s and 3s at Texas could play their schedule, and I'm telling you, we'd go undefeated. Once again, they didn't say Texas Tech, but Texas Tech quickly spoke up, and Joey McGuire, their head coach of the Red Raiders, said, "Okay, Texas, let's put your money where your mouth is." He said, and Joey McGuire and one of their boosters, Cody Campbell, said, "We will put up $2.4 million. We will buy out our week 1 opponent of Abilene Christian, and we'll buy out Texas's first week 1 opponent of Texas State, and they can go and they can go play each other. So, and Texas, you come play us in Lubbock, or you know what? We'll even play you in AT&T Stadium on a neutral site." And
what was Texas's answer?
They have
crickets.
no comment.
Crickets.
They have
it's like Alex Box Stadium.
Yeah,
crickets.
Sarkisian doesn't even know what happened, evidently.
Well, I tell you what, they're not going to say yes.
Oh, why would you? But they should. You can't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk.
The SEC eliminated Cupcake Weekend. That weekend before all the rivalries on Thanksgiving weekend, they voted to, effective 2027, get rid of Alabama playing Tennessee, Chattanooga, and LSU playing East-West, North Carolina State Junior.
Well, actually, when LSU and Alabama play, they always have an off week the week before that game. So be curious to see if they are able to continue that tradition moving forward with the new no East and West and all that kind of stuff. And they technically won't play each other every year.
Yep. 9-game SEC schedule.
Or I guess they're built-in opponents. Yeah. Are they built-in?
No, they're not. No, they're not. They play this year.
That's right.
And they don't play next year, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that.
So
I go look at.
That's going to be weird. LSU not playing Alabama in football. That's going to be strange. All right, we'll take a break. We're over here at the Bally's Casino inside the DraftKings.
We're going to try Joel again.
We'll try. Yeah, we'll see where the heck he's at. But we're also going to visit with riveroflifecapsules.com.
Patrick Scallon.
Patrick Scallon, the owner.
Minutes.
We'll talk to him in a little bit as well. No, we can actually catching him at 11:15, I believe, is what I had. And so we'll take a timeout. We come back. We'll either have Joel Davis or the show will be maybe even better without him, but we always have a segment with him. We'll talk sports shorts next here at DraftKings inside Bally's Casino. Don't go anywhere.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
And welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you on this Saturday morning edition of Sports Shorts Radio, broadcasting live from a new sponsor of ours, Bally's Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. We are inside the DraftKings Sportsbook here at Bally's Casino. Absolutely gorgeous what they've done here right across the street from the Raising Cane's River Center. You'll be blown away. Stop by Bally's Casino, and an awesome hotel as well. Probably as the crow flies from where we are to Wooden Haven Furniture Company on Government Street in Baton Rouge, I'm going to say 2 miles, 2.5.
That's a crow fly. Yeah,
As
maybe
the crow
three.
flies, maybe 3 miles. But not far from where Joel Davis normally is on Saturdays. But he's not there this Saturday at Wooden Haven Furniture Company. Where are you, Joel?
How many long tosses, Ron?
Oh, that's 1991, Ron Rance. It would probably be about 12 long tosses, but now 100.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let me tell you something, buddy. It's probably still, even with a bad shoulder from many years of flag football and softball, I still think I could get it done in 30 long tosses, Ron.
Don't put you put your money where your mouth is. We might have another toss off in 2026. We haven't had one in over a decade since you and Buzzy Heidel did your famous toss off between Alex Box Stadium and the Co-op Bookstore, which later became the headquarters for Walk-Ons next to the original Walk-Ons. So we might have to try that again. Little different route. This you might have to. It's not a direct route. There's some neighborhoods in between that maybe we have to work around. But anyway, where are we finding you today, Joel?
So right now, I just left Live Oak High School. Had a volleyball onboarding meeting with the fundraiser, a little Live Oak volleyball. Had that this morning at 10:45. So I had to take a little time off from the Wooden Haven Furniture Company, but I'm hauling Series A back to the Wooden Haven because I just got a text message from the wife.
Needs your help.
Busy.
Yeah.
Super busy already. And my maps are going nuts, Ron. My maps won't stop pinging me, dude. Anyway.
What you know how to get to your business without using
Not
a
from
map.
Live Oak, Ron.
my goodness.
From Live Oak? I mean, give me a
Oh,
break,
my
dude.
goodness. Jeez, this guy. He's such
I mean, we're going to go Greenville Springs Road. I got to
yeah.
go Range Road.
it's not hard. It's really not hard. These like 3 turns.
But when you're talking when I'm talking to you on the phone and I'm driving
Got it.
and I got a million different things going on, Ron, it's not easy.
Got it. Okay. All right, Joel. So, but you were here last week. I was not. You had a chance to talk with them to recap your European vacation. I do have one question. When you went to Europe with your wife, and how long were y'all there for?
12 days, Ron.
12 days.
12 days.
You did a river cruise, a Viking river cruise. Was it Viking
Not a
or was it an
Viking.
off-brand? It was an off-brand? You went off-brand.
No, it's actually above. No, Viking just on the top of the mind. Amma Waterways. Amma Waterways is just as big, if not bigger, than Viking.
Okay.
And we were on a boat that was on its literally like its third actual cruise. So brand new boat.
Gotcha. And on that boat, you were there with Jeff Saturday, the former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He was a center for Peyton Manning, won and played in a couple Super Bowls. He was there, and you sent me a picture of him from like a TMZ type picture where you kind of stalked him the first day that you saw him.
No, dude.
My question is, did you ever befriend Jeff Saturday? Was there any ball talk? What did we do?
All right. So to make a long story short, no, because Jeff was clearly on a cruise with his wife and his wife's parents. Game changer. They were basically, I guess it was almost like they were their suitors. They were like their
babysitters.
That they were babysitters of the older people. And so, everybody hooked up in their little groups of people. They made friends, and I just happened to make friends with some really, really cool people. A couple out of and look, my wife is not super like into that kind of stuff. Making friends.
She doesn't need to know other people, right?
She doesn't need to know other people. Like I'm the talky guy. She's not the talky guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the cool people that I met on the cruise, and it was so funny, is this guy, and you can Google this guy. His name's Gary Rose. Gary Rose. And the reason why I'm telling you this
That's what I'm doing right now.
is Gary Rose, producer, Hollywood.
Okay.
Okay.
Gary Rose,
This
producer,
guy-
Hollywood. Got it?
Okay. He produced thousands upon thousands of commercials, like big time commercials, stuff you
Okay.
see on nationally, like lots of Super Bowl commercials and
Nice.
stuff like that. Friends with like the who's who of Hollywood, lives in the who's who of Hollywood
Okay.
Hills, lives next to Jeff Prost, that kind of stuff. But I mean the storytelling, Ron, the storytelling that I got to hear from this amazing guy was for 9 days was just the best ever, man. Totally, really became friends, and man, it was just what you have to be a producer.
So let me
you have
ask
to be
you
a
this.
storyteller.
Let me ask you this. You and Jeff Rose, he's 53-year-old super producer.
Gary
Rose.
Gary Rose. Gary
Rose.
Rose. Are you? Is it mutual? Meaning, like, is he talking as
No,
good about
we're still
you
texting right now.
as you are about
No,
him?
we texted. We've been texting since we got back.
Okay.
Our whole group is
Okay.
still texting.
Okay. And that's good. I'm glad it wasn't just one way. It wasn't a one-way crush.
Well, he found me I think he found me just as interesting as I found him.
Yeah, he's like,
Just
this
'cause of my
guy.
world.
This guy builds furniture in Indonesia, and he sells discount cards. Like, he's a Renaissance man. He's a Renaissance man.
Well, I mean, if you put it like that, Ron, it's pretty lame.
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Boy, you can really downplay a guy's life, huh?
Yeah, but he sells a lot of
Wow.
cards and a lot of furniture.
Well, it's
So-
not just cards anymore, Ron. You're a little removed.
I
You're a
know.
little removed.
I know that. Believe me, the Gumbo Gators and the Ruger are kicking off. We're launching our fundraiser tomorrow, so
Speaking of which,
we're very aware.
let's talk about that for a second, Ron. Now that I got you on live radio in front of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people,
Or a couple
in
dozen, whichever.
all of your markets,
Yeah.
in all of your markets.
Or
so,
a few dozen.
so Ron, so can we just talk about how tight you are? You always talk about how tight I am, right? So first of all, the Gumbo Gators was my account, and I would take care of the Gumbo Gators every year, and I'd make a nice little stipend off of that group, just based on the
By the way,
working with
Hunter,
them.
I got him that account.
So
Go ahead.
Ron,
Okay.
no, so Ron buys the Gumbo Gators, fires me, fires me,
I'll handle
Right?
it.
and then Ron says, "I'll do it myself." Then Ron doesn't do it himself. He calls my employee that works
Outsourced a
for
little
me.
bit. Yeah, outsourced a little bit.
Called my guy and offered him peanuts to run my program. My employee behind my back and offered him
There was
literally pennies on the dollar
Hunter. There
of
was
what it's worth.
Hunter. There's no non-compete, by the way, that his employee signed.
Oh,
gotta go to a
no.
break
and
anyway.
and
That
and,
is, by the way, you know what that's called, Hunter? You know what that's called? It's
careful.
called getting rants. Getting rants.
By the way, his guy, all he did was set up the stuff on behind the scenes. I'm handling it all in person. But anyway, so he got
So why do you have him doing a Zoom, Ron?
No, well,
Why do you have him
we
doing a
haven't
Zoom, Ron?
done a Zoom, and we may not. But my point is, I want him on
Okay.
retainer. He's on standby if I have a question because you're impossible to
Okay.
reach. So there you go. And I'll have. So he actually isn't doing much, but he's getting paid well for that. Actually,
Okay, no, he's not. But go
yeah,
ahead.
he is for doing nothing. So let's get to real quick, Joel, a story that's going on that we just talked about last segment. Sorsby gambling at Texas Tech out. NCAA saying no more. It's not going to be. Forget the appeal. It's not going to be able to play anymore because of gambling. This goes back to what was the quarterback, Tommy, with for the Colts in the 90s? Art Schlichter, former Ohio
Went to
State
prison.
quarterback, right?
Went to prison.
Went to prison for gambling. Went to prison for gambling, right? Meanwhile, we're here at the DraftKings Sportsbook at Saddle Ballot. But like this is a story that that there are a lot of players. What is the wide receiver that's with the Patriots that played for
Kayshon
LSU?
Boutte.
Kayshon Boutte. He did the same thing this guy's doing. Kayshon Boutte bet $100,000 on the first game on whether or not he was going to get X amount of catches and yards or whatever. But Keyshawn, my point is that there's so many dudes that are doing this that just aren't getting caught, right?
Oh my
Oh,
God,
absolutely.
it's ridiculous.
It's been that way for years. I mean, it's just like I mentioned last segment. It's just the fact that it's so easily accessible now for everybody, where you could walk into the DraftKings Sportsbook here at Bally's, or you could literally pick up your cell phone,
million apps,
and do it for you. You can do whatever you want right here at the palm of your hand. Anybody can do it.
I'm just curious, Joe, your thoughts on that topic from a standpoint of, like, this is probably going to be this is the steroid era of gambling, right? Like in the 80s and 90s, they were kind of getting rid of steroids and testing for drugs and all that stuff. And now that's kind of a thing. Now this is the new thing to worry about if you're college athletics
Well,
or
steroids
pro
thing,
athletics.
you remember
All I know is I already worry about that easy drop ball, right?
Well,
Or that
Yeah.
that weird interception, or that fumble at the goal line, or that really, really bad call by the referee. All that was already in question, right? All those things you already go, what's the deal? And now you know what the deal is.
Hang on, TK's got something.
Everything-
TK's got something.
the perfect analogy when you refer to the steroids, and when Jose Canseco came out and said 80% or more doing steroids, people were laughing. No, it's more like 5%. No, maybe 10. But you're totally wrong. Canseco was totally correct. That's the same thing with Sorsby and Bucci and other guys that have been caught. There's who knows how many others that just hadn't been caught. So it's the tip of the iceberg. And if somehow Sorsby plays for Texas Tech,
No, he's not.
there's a big problem.
Well,
No
way.
well, you say that, but if they
There's gonna be a
sue-
lawsuit.
they will, and
think
if
the
they
bigger-
get the injunction, he will play. He will play before anything
By
is
the way,
settled.
how in the hell can the government, a judge, allow him to play when now he's come out and said that he gambled on his own team? Oh, by the way, he's out of eligibility anyway. And so if they do that, then there's just zero rules. Why do we even have an
That's
NCAA
the
at
thing.
that point?
Yeah.
Like, just do whatever
Well,
the hell
not
you
only that,
want.
He had to go spend 30 days in self-improvement program, for
yeah.
God's sakes, over gambling. Oh, but here's the bigger question. Would you drop a second-round draft pick on him?
Still, huh?
If you think he can help you win,
That's where we're
one
at.
team will say yes.
If you think he could give you good betting information for your teammates, I think he's a great pickup in the second round.
Yeah, unbelievable. All
I
right,
think if it wasn't gambling, and maybe if it was just like wife beating, he would probably go for a second-round pick.
isn't that unbelievable? Right, gambling seems worse than domestic violence.
Josh
at times.
Jacobs
100%.
is allegedly the past week, well,
Or
not in the past week, but
or if he aligned himself with Trump, or he aligned himself with Obama or Biden, and then
he got
half the
political.
country's mad at him. He's that's not worthy of a second-round draft pick. But gambling, absolutely. Let's get this guy in the. No, we can't do that. Can't do it. He's been gambling. This is atrocious.
All right, Joel. Listen, we're gonna take a break. We got a hard out. We appreciate
Ron.
you. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ron, got one more thing for you before I go.
What's that?
he's gone.
Okay,
That was it.
Oh, that was it. That was just one
it.
more thing.
That was one more thing.
Nice, good on him. He's so bitter about the whole fundraiser thing in Baton Rouge and Lake Charles. I'm glad. All right, we'll take a break. Be
He
back
got
with more
rants.
Sports Shorts live from the DraftKings Sportsbook inside Bally's Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. Don't go anywhere.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you. Tommy Kreis and Hunter McCann. Ronnie Rance over here at Bally's Casino. Joining us right now is Patrick Scallon, the founder of riveroflifecapsules.com. We talk about it each week on the show. And, you know, this time of the year, folks are headed to the beach. Folks are being active outdoors. Sometimes you got aches and pains. Why is River of Life Capsules, something that everyone should try? Riveroflifecapsules.com.
Hey, good morning, fellas. So, the main thing, everybody, you're sitting there, you're 45 plus, you're 50 plus, and you notice that your joints are aching more, you have more inflammatory issues. When you walk or you get up, you notice that there's an ache or pain. So, make it a game changer. Get something that's natural and organic, which is a River of Life. We've got hundreds of cases of people coming in, taking River of Life. They have better mobility. They can think clearly. They have less pain. And they just feel generally overall better, because when you take something natural and organic that has 10 to 15 positive side effects, you're going to get not only the pain relief, you're going to get the anti-inflammatory, the arthritic issues are going to drop down to almost nothing. And we just have case after case of doing it. And the patients we've seen in the DME business for many years, they've had these issues. And once they try River of Life, a vast majority, once they take it, they say, man, I'm feeling great. I don't have the side effects of the other over-the-counter stuff I was taking. But go to River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com, and you can go in there. It's very reasonable for you, riveroflifecapsules.com. I can promise you, you'll take it within 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you'll feel a tremendous result in your body. And it's also a stress reliever. So if you're stressed out about LSU not playing in the regionals, take some River of Life at riveroflifecapsules.com. You'll feel better and get out there and run or do something great at riveroflifecapsules.com.
I appreciate it, Patrick.
Thank you, buddy.
Back over here at Bally's Casino, the Major League Baseball we were talking about with the strike looming next year, but let's talk about this year. LSU, we got some news, Tommy, on some LSU players and stuff and how they're doing. Obviously, Paul Skeens continuing to be Paul
No,
Skeens.
he's lost 3 in a row. He's on a rough stretch right now. And
what is his overall stats?
6-5 in the ERA.
I got it right here.
He's lost 3 in a row, 6-5. ERA is north of 2.5.
Ooh.
Yeah.
ERA's 2.5.
He's had a couple of
Right.
not awful outings like that opening day outing.
Yeah.
No.
And then he had some good run.
Right.
Then he's had some
He's
of
had
those
the kind
where
of
you
year that
gave up.
everybody else would make $38 million a year
where
on.
you gave up 3 runs in 6
Not
innings
50 million,
instead of
right.
none.
He's 6-5 on the season, 2.89 ERA, 75
Okay.
punch outs. He still ranks third in WHIP with .86. So the Pirates have not given him any grace
Any
once
help.
again. Yeah, exactly.
His ERA
Right.
is under 3.
And
He's got the third best whip in the league. But he obviously was like the best pitcher of all time just a month ago. Now he had 3 outings.
I was watching the other day, and Bregman, who is a pull hitter, got a hit off of him off the end of the bat, just far enough where the shortstop couldn't get out there. The left
Right.
fielder couldn't get in. One of them dying ducks.
As a Cubs fan, it
fell.
was wonderful because that's how they were able to break the losing streak.
Yeah, then they
was,
busted it
Give
open.
me an update on Bregman, his numbers, and where the Cubs are right now, because obviously
well.
that's Hunter's
Well,
team.
they had lost 10 in a
They
row.
lost 10 in a row after winning 10 in a
Isn't
row.
that
So
crazy? Has that
it's-
ever happened?
Yes, it happened in 2017 to the Dodgers, who went to the World Series that year. They had multiple 10-game win streaks. Then also in the same season had a 10-game losing streak. Still ended up in the World Series. But the Cubs find themselves once again the toughest division in baseball right now. They're 31-27. Everybody in the NL Central is above 500. The only the only division like that right now. The Cubs are in the middle of the pack. They are now 5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers, who are 34-20. So Chicago and kind of they last night they lost a 1-run game 6-5 to the Cardinals.
That is unbelievable. Is there as an avid Cubs fan who watches every game, what happened to them to lose 10 in a row?
Well, they
Did
can't-
someone get hurt? Like
No.
what happened?
The entire team slumped. I mean, everybody was ice cold at the plate. The Cubs were putting up 2 runs a game. Here, I can give you the actual rundown of the last 10 games in terms
baseball.
of score. I mean, it is.
Yeah, but still,
It-
10's crazy.
10 is
10 in
crazy.
a
If you
row.
win 10 in a row, you think we're special. You lose 10 in a row, you think you're trash. Fuck, can't use that word. You're terrible. So
You're not good.
not good. Yeah.
So
not good.
when the
Is
Cubs
this on? Is this?
You
is this
could
mic
be
on?
better.
All right, all right.
when the Cubs finally started losing, it was after they won against the Rangers to win 10 in a row back on May 8th. Then went on a 10-game losing streak, falling to the Rangers. They scored no runs against the Rangers, no runs again against the Rangers, 2 runs against the Braves, 1 run against the Braves, 2 runs against the Braves. Let me figure. Actually, sorry, that was when the 10-game win streak got split up. Then they lost. They scored 3 against the White Sox, scored 3 against the Brewers, 2 against the Brewers, none against the Brewers.
just-
Like they couldn't score more than 3 runs consistently. And the pitching, was fine. It wasn't great.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
Okay.
the Astros
pitching's
won.
hard to be good when
Yeah.
your team's not scoring.
The Astros won 4-2, then won 3-0. The Pirates won 2-1 at the beginning of this week, and then finally the Cubs broke it open on Wednesday. They won 10-4, and then of course 7-2 against Skeens before falling against the Cardinals last night. So it's baseball. It just happens to be that everybody on Chicago was slumping at the same time. This team was ice cold. But to answer your question about Bregman, I'll pull up his numbers for you because he once again has been better, but not great. He's batting his batting average is .26, 4 home runs still in the year, 17 RBIs, .696 OPS. It's kind of just been middle of the pack so far. Defensively, the guy's been unbelievable at third base, but he's just been a little bit inconsistent at the plate.
The thing that I would absolutely tell you is that as a fan, hang in there, right? As a Chicago Cubs fan,
It's over 100 games
it's
left,
obviously
man.
going to be a roller coaster the rest of the way.
Especially in this, once again, in this division where everybody's north of your 55 plus games into the season, and everybody's north of 500. So you're playing some tough. You're already playing tough teams. Now you're playing tough teams in your division.
All right, let's go back over to college baseball. It's regionals weekend. No LSU. The Raging Cajuns got hammered last night at home. In Starkville, 12-2. They were beat over in Starkville. They will play Lipscomb today, an elimination game. Not a good outing for the Raging Cajuns, who had been playing one of the hottest teams in the land over the last month of the season. It just did not happen yesterday at all. They led 1-0 early on, and then it fell apart after that pretty quickly. They took on Cincinnati. Cincinnati's catcher hit 3 home runs in the ball game against the Raging Cajuns, and that was the 3rd time this year that he has hit 3 home runs in a game. How about that? 3 home runs in a game for the 3rd time this year. Natilli, their catcher. That is absolutely unbelievable.
And we got 4 games underway right now. 3 of those are elimination games. One's the rescheduled game between Citadel and Oklahoma from yesterday, the Atlanta Regional. Oklahoma right now in the bottom of the 8th is up 7-3 on Citadel. And then in the 3 elimination games in Morgantown, Wake Forest is up 2-0 in the bottom of the 2nd against Binghamton. Tennessee and VCU are still tied in the bottom of the 2nd in the Chapel Hill Regional, that elimination game. And then the elimination game between Boston College and Long Island. And Long Island was routed yesterday against Georgia. There in the Athens Regional, of course, it is 4-0 Boston College, top 3.
What you call it, 5 teams from the Sun Belt Conference got into the NCAA tournament, which was the first time that had ever happened, that 5 teams from the Sun Belt went in, which is great. They had 4 in 23, 4 in 24, but only 2 last year. Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss both hosted regionals, and there was nobody else. Troy felt like they really got gypped last year and should have got in. They got in this year. They got beat. Troy got beat by Miami 10-5. 4 of the 5 teams in the Sun Belt lost. Mm-hmm. Coastal Carolina lost. They've been terrible the last month of the season. They've been just slumping awful. Southern Miss lost at home. Texas State lost against Texas State. I'm going to get to that. Troy lost to Miami 10-5. And UL, of course, got beat 12-2. Texas State, who was controversy that they got in. They were the 5th Sun Belt team out of the 5 to get in. There's a lot of people that thought maybe they didn't deserve to get in. Texas State beat Southern Cal, a ranked team who had been playing really well. Texas State beat Southern Cal 5-4 over in College Station. So 1 lone win for the Sun Belt, and of course, it comes from the team who was lucky to get in.
Kentucky was also last minute to get in, and they beat Wake Forest, who's coached by Tom Walters, former UNO coach. So Kentucky did get a win, and there was a lot of people didn't think they should have been in.
So other games, so there was a bunch of upsets yesterday. As far as games to watch today, what do you have?
Well, you just want to. I want the Sun Belt teams that lost to do better. Or maybe the Raging Cajuns can get it going.
So looking at the schedule, some games that they have going on today that of note is. I'm
looking forward to UNC East Carolina. To be honest with you, I'll be interested to see how East Carolina bounces back after that track meet yesterday, and they play a really tough UNC team that won yesterday. I believe it was 8-0 against VCU. So I'll be interested to see how they do at Chapel Hill Regional, because the Eastern Carolina team coming into the weekend, I was pretty high on. I thought they played really well yesterday, and just they obviously knocking off Tennessee in 14. That game was incredible. I'll be interested to see if they're able to keep that momentum after stretching that game to 14, having to use a lot of their pitching.
By the way, the interesting story yesterday, Georgia was leading, 15-0 or something like that. Then they had a rain delay suspension. When Georgia was beating Long Island University at home in their own regional, they were no-hitting Long Island into the 6th inning. Obviously, the starting pitcher had to come out. And they put in a reliever after I don't know, did they finish this morning? Did they finish late last night?
They finished yesterday.
Okay, so it was super late last night when they finished. Long Island ended up scoring 2 runs on 2 hits. Georgia beat them 18-2.
I believe that rain delay wasn't as long as you think, because they came back in the middle of the afternoon or like early evening yesterday.
Okay. When I checked the score, it was still in a rain delay at nighttime. So 18-2, Georgia beat Long Island yesterday. Some games to watch. Troy, of course, facing elimination. They take on Rider. Rider was the team that had Florida beat until the 9th. Some other games, Coastal Carolina, they're facing elimination at Florida State. Florida State, the host team in the regional, they lost. That's a tough spot for Coastal Carolina. Auburn facing elimination today at home against NC State. That would be shocking. Remember, Auburn went to the College World Series last year. Another tough one facing elimination, Southern Miss facing Virginia at home facing elimination. So there's going to be some programs and some teams that are going to get their feelings hurt today because there's some tough eliminations games. And, of course, 4 o'clock, which is 3 our time, I believe. 3 o'clock our time, UL and Lipscomb will be playing in Starkville.
And looking forward to the Trojans of Little Rock and Jackson State today. See if the Trojans can keep it going.
That should be a good
Jackson State, a heavy favorite, minus 330 on the money line against Little Rock today.
Jackson State?
Yeah.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State. Excuse me. Sorry.
From Alabama.
Yes.
Hey, before we go to break, Court Street Cafe, steak night tonight in Port Allen, Sunday brunch tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Jason and staff do a great job. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. I'll be out there Monday night for Sports Shorts Monday at 6:30. Court Street Cafe, Port Allen.
Other game that's shocking at 3 o'clock today, UCLA, the number 1 seed, at home will be facing Virginia Tech in an elimination game. UCLA, the first ever number 1 seed overall to lose the opening round game in a regional. And their coach going to win a lot of postseason awards, a lot of awards for Coach of the Year. I have some inside information on that, and he might go 0-2 in a regional. That would be a little weird in Omaha to be giving out some awards and him not be in Omaha. All right, we'll take a break. Be back. Final segment of Sports Shorts live from the DraftKings Sportsbook inside Bally's Casino in downtown Baton Rouge. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Krysan over at the DraftKings Sportsbook inside LeBears Casino. Final segment of Sports Shorts. What we got going on in the world of sports?
The interest, we talked a little bit about it earlier in terms of Joel bringing it up, but the disagreement between Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter over bringing politics back into sports. Last week, Jackson Dart introduced President Trump at an event in New York, and then it sparked a little controversy online, and Carter kind of posted some criticism to Dart supporting Trump, and it led to a lot of off-the-field antics. And then yesterday, Carter kind of said, I know Jackson's a good dude. We had a conversation, but just felt like I needed to give my opinion about the situation. So a lot of people
what
online.
was the opinion about Josh Jacobs getting arrested?
That's the other thing. That's the other big news this week in the NFL. Josh Jacobs getting arrested for alleged domestic dispute from, I believe it was 2023. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it was 2023 that it happened. And so he's facing some situations now and everything. There's always those type of controversies, but it's always quite interesting to me when politics is involved in situations that don't need politics at all. And usually I would say politics don't need to be involved in anything except for politics.
But
it never happens that way.
Unfortunately, that's the perfect story, but it doesn't work that way at all.
It's just interesting to me that somebody would, stick their opinion down and somebody else just throws in terms of Abdul Carter going out of his way.
Carter needs to realize that if somebody doesn't agree with him, that's fine. Okay?
If he doesn't agree with Jackson Dart, that's fine. But to make it a public thing is
well. And then
it's just look at me.
Now they're throwing it back at him because he asked Lawrence Taylor if he could wear number 56, and Taylor said no. And then he finds out Taylor is a big supporter of Trump. Now he won't make a comment about that.
It's wild how all the
It's like, hey, just go play football, dude.
Somehow just
go play football, help your team win.
Is last couple minutes here of the show. There's some news out of New Orleans. The Saints aren't the only team going to Paris.
No,
they're going to Europe.
No, get the Pelicans and the Spurs playing in January. They'll play a game in Paris, and then 3 days
Wemby
later,
going home to France is going to be gigantic.
It's the second time that's happening.
Yeah.
They played in France. Last season played in France, and then now they'll play in France against the Pelicans.
They stick the Pelicans over there because because the Saints obviously have some ties and the Pelicans have some connections to Paris. And also because nobody cares about the Pelicans. It's all about Wemby. You could put us three playing against them over there and sell out a building.
Well, I don't know about that.
And they may be
100%.
They may be defending champ Spurs if the Spurs can punch their ticket tonight and play the Knicks in the finals, and we'll see how that goes for the NBA Finals. But Pelicans will play in France January 14th, and then 3 days later turn around and play in Manchester, England against the Spurs as well on Sunday, January 17th.
That's really cool. And speaking of Game 7 tonight, Oklahoma City at San Antonio. Oklahoma City, a man down.
No Jalen Williams, which will just like I mentioned earlier in the show, he was out game 2, 3, 4, and 5. Came back game 6, only played 10 minutes, and then they said game 7 he's a no-go. So he hasn't been a vital part of their push here in the Western Conference Finals, but he's a key part to their success, and he's the difference maker when the other guy, when Jay Gilgeous-Alexander's having a bad game, Williams always seems to be the one to pick up the slack. So in these situations where the Spurs have grabbed 3 of these games so far in the conference finals, it's a lot of times because of the fact that there's nobody to pick up the slack for Gilgeous-Alexander. So we'll see if that plays a big factor, whether that's tonight or if they punch their tickets to the finals, if Williams will be able to play against the Knicks.
That's Wemby is turning out to be the dude. I mean,
good as advertised.
I mean, when he first came out, they call him the alien and all that. But man,
there's no other way to
describe 22, 21, 22 years old,
2 or 3, something like that.
I mean, that dude is amazing, and it's incredible how
he's 22.
How he turned that organization around so quickly. Obviously, with Tim Duncan and Pop and all the players that they had going back, David Robinson, et cetera. And you had this great run for many decades. And then that was it, right? When all those guys retired and went down, one guy comes in.
Changes everything, man.
Now we're back to San Antonio is going to be that team every year. If that dude's with you, he will be there. For Tommy Krysan and Hunter McCann, I'm Ronnie Rance. Thanks to the DraftKings Sportsbook and Bally's Casino. We'll see you next week, everybody.